Love is, after all, a gift of oneself. That very apt quote by Jean Anouilh, the French playwright of the 20th century, is a way to describe a relationship that I had with my dear friend, whom I'll call affectionately Annie Jean. Annie Jean was originally my husband's friend, but he knew how to pick them. So when he passed away, he left me wonderful memories, profound lessons, and the legacy of a few select and dear friends. I had reason to ask Noreen to come back after the pandemic because before that she had not been able to come, but she normally would make a yearly pilgrimage here. But I called her one day to let her know that I had gotten some pathology results and I was going to have surgery for stage 1 breast cancer. That was in December that she came, and then she generously came back in April and took care of me as I healed. I wanted to some way pay her back for her kindness. And I found it when she told me that she at last was wanting to empty a storage unit that she had in Vallejo. I was in Santa Rosa. She had moved away 11 years before from California to Florida. Year after year, she'd come, open up the rolling gate, take a look, get overwhelmed, shut the golden gate, put the padlock on, and drive home. She swore to me that it was only 2/3 full. So on a Friday, expecting to take a couple of days on the job, we went, opened up the gate, and it was solid. Only mice and rats could get in, and let me tell you, they did. However, she assured me that it was half empty or 2/3 full on the other side of the wall. She had hired some people from a rehab place to pack it for them, and they had put it together like a Rubik's Cube. We, in turn, hired a couple of people from a rehab center, and as they dismantled it, we discovered that we weren't going to be able to remantle it while we came back the next day and the next day. We had to rent a second storage unit. That afternoon, as what had started as a beautifully mild, cloudy day turned to a sudden storm, all of us rushed to get everything into the 2 storage units, including the boxes we had already packed. On the next day, we came back and found that most of the boxes we had packed had gotten soggy, and we had to repack them. On the next day, we were smart. It had gotten so hot, and there was absolutely no shade, no porta potties, and no garbage cans at CubeSmart in Vallejo. So the consequences of the pandemic, no doubt. So we found another one on the other side. And we now owned 3 storage units. And that was our triage room and our office. And I was able to be in charge. Let me tell you, it was a transformative experience. I've never been a project manager on something of this size, particularly since when George Carlin spoke about stuff, he was talking about the stuff that I have. That guy's got my number. And here I was directing somebody else who is far more developed on that level than I am to make decisions about what she was going to keep, what she was going to toss, and what she was going to give away. On the next day, we went back, and she had injured herself. Now, I had been released from my weight restrictions from my 2 surgeries, but I wasn't really set up for exactly what I ended up doing. But let me tell you, we hired somebody to help us, and that guy cut out on us, excoriating us because we had contacted him for 2 hours, but he wanted to do it in 45 minutes, and we were going too slowly. So on the next day, I was delighted. All the muscles that had atrophied after my surgery had come back, and let me tell you, they're still there. On the next day, we were so exhausted and so up to here. Every day, we had to stay there and hold our pee and then go find a place to relieve ourselves. I mean, a real place like a Safeway or a Walmart. And then we would wash our hands that despite all the sanitizer we went through, they were just running with dirt and muck. And we had to plow through a considerable amount of what my little neighbor calls rodent droppings. I called it mouse shit and rat shit. By that day, we needed a break. We worked very hard, and midday I said, let's just go. Let's go for a break, have something to eat, a little coffee. And we ended up in Benicia, and we're relaxed by the water. It was fantastic. On the next day, we thought, well, we'll sleep in. No, we went back. It was a good idea because were told that the previous day there had been a break-in. And we really had to work very hard. We didn't want to stay late, but the movers were coming on Friday, the next day. So we hurried up. We worked hard. The last time I saw the clock, it was 9 p.m. I saw someone come in at about 9:50, put something in their unit, and peel out. I didn't realize until at 10:20 we tried to get out the gate that we were locked in. We called the office. It wasn't there. We called the emergency number. It wasn't working. We had to call 911. The dispatch said, well, most people just have to call someone to come pick them up. We said, we can't. We're from Santa Rosa. Our car is here. That's the only one we had. They said, well, you can go out the pedestrian door. The pedestrian door was locked as well. He said, well, I guess you're just going to have to wait, huh? It's dangerous in Vallejo at this hour, isn't it, huh? And so we informed them that we were two 70-year-old women and that the dispatch and the local law enforcement were going to be responsible if we had any kind of medical emergency or, God forbid, the thieves returned that night. We soon got a code to get out and made it home. On the next day, we got there just in time before the movers. The movers left, and we saw that the list that he had was illegible. The man could hardly write. And so we were worried for a while. But on the following Friday, Noreen called after having returned to Florida to tell us that everything had arrived. Jean Anouilh also said, to say yes, you have to roll up your sleeves, sweat, and put your hands in up to your elbows. So we did. We sweated, we rolled up our sleeves, we put our hands up to our elbows. And before this event, our relationship was on a firm foundation. But as an actress and writer once said, sweat is the cement of friendship. Now, we're solid.